Hey everyone, Dr. Ramani here, and it's such a pleasure to let you know that today you can order Kimberly Shannon Murphy's book, Glimmer, a story of survival, hope, and healing. We will link in the video notes. This was an extraordinary book and an extraordinary story. You may not know her name, but you've seen her if you've watched a movie that has ever had a famous tall actress, think like an Uma Thurman or like a Cameron Diaz kind of actress doing a stunt. Kimberly was the one doing it. She herself is a tall, really strong woman who does these stunts. So she's a stunt woman. And it's not an easy book to read. And so, for those of you who have had histories of abuse in childhood, take a look and take a minute as you decide that for yourself, because it's an extraordinarily powerful book. It's a powerful book on not only complex trauma and childhood abuse, but how families collude to leave the most vulnerable member of a family to be harmed, and the denial that can happen in family systems for a very, very long time. We learn that when we talk about narcissistic abuse, when it's embedded in families, it's often embedded in much, much more complicated family systems that go above and beyond the narcissistic abuse. But even when horrific abuse is happening, in Kimberly's story, I have to say, I've been in the therapist game for almost 25 years, and hers is one of the more difficult, painful, and traumatizing stories I have had the opportunity to hear. That you recognize that the narcissistic abuse still, despite all that, makes a strong impact. And that was something that struck me in my conversation with Kimberly. But in her book, what you read is what happens in families and the arduous process of healing. She shares in frank detail what her process was. And these books are so important because these books, for survivors to read these, you read about how hard it was, how hard it can still be, but that things can evolve and shape and grow, that people can find remarkable things in their lives, and people can take back their lives. And even as the wounds of the trauma echo, that people do persist. And I'll tell you, there's no stunt that Kimberly's ever done, and she has done some stunts that could even come close to the strength that she summoned to work through this process. And what's amazing is she has in here the perspectives of people who do remarkable work in trauma, and I thought that her ability to share all of that makes it an incredibly important story in this way. For many people who are surviving any form of relational trauma, betrayal trauma, complex trauma, Kimberly's book is a real beacon of light in what can feel like a very complex healing process. So please check out the link in the video notes, order it. She's fantastic. I've really enjoyed getting to know her, and I hope that you find her book as powerful and profound as I did.